if you would prefer to watch this and be able to do other things at the same time, go check out Dawn Bradley Hair on YouTube. I'll put it on the podcast tomorrow. But if you have been wanting to ditch social media completely, or social media overwhelms you or stresses you out, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited because we've got a special guest coming to Business Breakfast in Bedhead this morning. Does anybody want to guess who's coming to Business Breakfast in Bedhead? As long as you're not over on YouTube already, go on YouTube. You can go sneak a peek at who's coming this morning. Good morning. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Bella. Hi, Rachel. So go ahead and say hello. You guys know that I'd like to talk with you. I don't want to be some person on a screen talking at you this morning. So go ahead and say hello and where you're tuning in from. And we're going to get into it because I know you guys are so overwhelmed and so stressed out about social media. There's so many new things. It's like every other day, there's like another thing you have to do that's put on your plate. Another technique, another hack, another algorithm thing. And if you guys are so sick of all this stuff that's overwhelming you, that you got into your job for what you love, the clients that you love, you didn't know you had to become like a tech god and learn all those things. Text will only be listening. Oh, that's so good. But how many of you guys, hi guys from Saskatoon. How many of you guys are Puerto Rico. I love it, from Dubai. So cool. So how many of you guys, if you would want to grow your business, still stay relevant without necessarily having to use social media, would you be in for it? Give me a yes in the comments, because I'm really excited to bring someone live this morning that's a total master of this, has built their own service business in ways that you guys are going to be blown away with. Hello. I just need you guys to say, yeah, you want it, because without that, I can't bring them live. So I'm just trying to see how to bring them live. Are you able to request going live? Let's see here. Okay. Hi, Amy. I love it. You guys, I know that I get so overwhelmed with social media, which is kind of funny because I am on social media. But what you're going to learn today in Business Breakfast in Bedhead is going to blow your mind, and it's going to take all that stress and overwhelm off your plate when it comes to Instagram. And you might even decide that you don't even want to use Instagram for your business because you've been sold a lie about social media, and you're going to hear the truth this morning, and it's going to be so good. So maybe leave a comment so I can invite you to come live. I'm not sure if it's not. I'm just trying to figure out how to bring this special guest live. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead. There's a question box down here. Pop your question there. That way we can bring it up live and answer them. But please bring it on. I love it. You guys, I also, that I don't drink caffeine normally, but I went out and saw Kevin Hart's stand-up comedy last night. So this morning, I'm definitely drinking caffeine. Okay, are you guys all ready for this? Because you are going to have the best time this morning. I'm so excited to bring this person live. You are going to love her. She is the queen. Hello, Jody. How's it going?
Hi.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, hold on. I can't hear you. Just give me 2 seconds here.
Oh, can you guys hear her?
Yes. Okay, I can hear you now. We're good to go.
Technology. Breakfast in Bedhead. I'm so good to hear.
Thank you for having me. Oh, that's so nice to connect again and just like chat. And I'm excited about this topic.
Me too. So because I was telling everyone like how you can grow your business without social media, I want you to share just a little bit, like introduce yourself to everyone so that anyone who might not know you can get an understanding of who you are and what you do.
All right, so my name is Jody Brown. I live in Canada. I am a mom of one 8-year-old little boy and lots of furry creatures. And I teach marketing and branding to beauty industry entrepreneurs and educators in a way that doesn't involve anything like sleazy or selling your soul or trying to go viral or any of these other things that lead to burnout and just overall hating the experience of being on social media.
I love that. And how did you get into this? Because you were a hairstylist, right?
I was. It's a funny story. I know we've told this story before, but Dawn, like coming to one of the biggest like aha moments was I actually came to Dawn's class in the city closest to where I live in Edmonton in Canada. And I was sitting there in this room, and your audience is really accomplished and like amazingly talented stylists. And we're in this room, and I remember someone said one thing about social media, and the entire room was like, I hate social media. This is the worst thing ever. Like, I'm so mad that this is a part of our job now. And, up until that point, I had always just assumed that everyone knows this stuff, right? Because I think whenever it's something that comes easy to us, we just assume, right? That everyone knows this and it's easy. So hearing that, knowing that kind of that I knew something that could really help people is kind of organically how I got into educating on this topic. I just started sharing about it and working with stylists one-on-one to help them use social media. And my business has evolved over the past, 2 years, 3 years almost now.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy because I think it was like February of
It was, okay, this is
2020.
the craziest part. It was March 8th, 9th, and 10th of
Yes.
2020. 2020, yeah. Like, right, because wasn't it like the 15th that like everything, it was going to be like 2 weeks and then we're all going to be back to normal April 1st. Yeah, I remember those dates so clearly. And I remember like, I think we like just had a conversation, right? Because I like reached out to you and said, come to the class, didn't I?
Yeah. And it was like kismet. Like, it was crazy because I had like thought about getting into education for the longest time, but it's one of those things where like branded education just didn't fit in my lifestyle essentially. And you don't know until you know something's possible. So I feel like meeting you, because I had been in Rock Your Business,
Yeah.
I feel like meeting, not meeting you, but connecting with you is one of the things that I was like, like this is a possibility. And then just learning that what I had to share could be so impactful to people was really how I got into it.
That's what I love too. Like when I made Rock Your Business, which if those of you guys that are watching are not sure what this is, it's a 8-week mentorship and like I don't even like to call it a course anymore because it's like a resource that you can go to over and over again. But like Jody, I remember you joined and then like life got in the way and you weren't able to really like partake in it. And then you like kind of took part in it later on. And then so many of my students have like, it's taken them so many different directions. And a lot of them have become educators. A lot of them have gone and like opened up salon suites or opened up like salons with stylists, or now I've got lash techs and nail techs. And it's just so cool to see how versatile and like people, how they've gone and like found the things. So because today we're talking about how to grow your business without social media, and you do talk about growing on social media. I mean, we used a little bit of a clickbaity title, but the reality is it's not social media itself. I mean, we were talking just before this, how like everyone, like service-based businesses are getting lost with the wrong information.
Yes. And the thing is that the people who teach how to go viral are really good at going viral themselves. So, like the Instagram algorithm is really smart. And if you're someone who's in business and you've kind of started consuming some of this education, you're going to get served a lot of like, how to get a bunch of views, how to do this. And I think that, those things are great for, even people like Dawn or I, some of that information might be relevant for us because, when you're a global business, things are very different. But for a local hairstylist, like there's no advantage to putting your energy into going viral, reaching a bunch of people, getting 100,000 followers, whatever that looks like, if your goal is to attract clients behind the chair. Like, so I think that's always the most important place to start is like, why are you using social media? And listen, there's other places that you can absolutely use to get clients. As of right now, though, I still think that honestly, once you master it, it's the easiest, one of the easiest, right? Like there's lots of other ways, but I think the whole focus on how to do Instagram isn't where we should be thinking. It's not where we should be focusing. Instagram is just one channel, right? It's just one channel to spread your message and get it in front of people. What's really important is like, I almost picture it like your brand is like the ball. And then like picture the sun and there's like the ball and then there's like all the little rays, right? I always think of it as like your brand and your message are the ball. And then all of your marketing channels are just these little rays. But like without the middle of it, without the foundation and your message, there's nothing to market. So focusing on just the ray is kind of like an empty,
Yeah.
yeah, you might get some likes, but at the end of the day, is it really growing your business, and is it worth your time and energy?
I love that, because so many times, like all the social media tips and tricks and hacks, cool, but we can get so sidetracked by that. And if we don't know how to properly market our business, it's going to be useless. And I actually got a DM recently from a hairstylist, a local not local to Calgary, but someone who's a local hairstylist in their area, wanting to collaborate. And I asked, like, well, what's your purpose? What's your goal? And she said, like, just to be seen by more people. And I was like, why? Because and it's so easy, and I know I've done it, got caught up in the vanity metrics, in the wanting to have more, because it feels good and it validates us. And for I know for me, and I know a lot of the people that are here, it's like, I struggle with self-esteem, I struggle with self-worth. And they say that when you get likes online, it's like the dopamine is similar to doing cocaine.
Yes, and this is how it's designed. I like to be really transparent, because and this isn't something that should necessarily discourage you from using social media apps, but I think it's important to be empowered with the information that Instagram is a for-profit company. And they directly benefit from you spending more time on the platform, because then you're seeing more ads and they're making more money. So giving these notifications, you gotta you gotta follow, or all of these things, that is one of the ways that they make the experience more gives you more hits of dopamine. So you're more likely to spend time on the app. So knowing that can empower you to be okay, even if you get that little bit of a dopamine hit, and there's nothing wrong with liking to get engagement. So I'm not trying to shame anyone, but I think knowing that, and knowing your purpose, Instagram's purpose, can empower you to be okay, how am I going to use this to benefit me?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And okay, so one of my favorite things that I've been sharing with people, because I love efficiency. Efficiency is my jam. I always am trying to reinvent the wheel to make things more efficient. And making a reel, or putting things on story, posting your availability on your stories, or doing these things is a really efficient way to get in front of more people. However, it might not be the most effective. And I've been really honing in on this, because efficiency is good, but if it's not effective, it doesn't work. And so, and I was saying to you earlier, I don't know, I've never booked a service from someone doing a trending reel.
No.
Right. And so it's efficient because it gets in front of people, but is it effective for what you're wanting? At the end of the day, you want to get more clients booked in with you. And so it might get people aware of you, but honestly, if posting, making reels, and doing all that stuff stresses you out. And I mean, I will totally say right now, me and Jody may disagree on certain things about approaches. And I want you guys to know that I always say I welcome disagreeing.
Totally.
And having different approaches is totally okay, because we're all different people. But I've been encouraging some of my students to stop posting on social media, but take that time and put it into connection with people on social media.
Well, I think, I totally think that you're right, in the sense that connection is the key here, because so often I hear people say things like the algorithm hates me, but the algorithm's not booking an appointment with you, right? So I think if you take that focus off of the masses and focus on the individual, then that is definitely the key to relationship building and connecting with those clients. And then I think that content, I look at this in so many different ways. I believe the best way to use content as a local business is to establish yourself as an expert, allow people to see what the experience inside your business is like, and then share social proof. So those are kind of the things. And there is that connection piece there, because at the end of the day,
social proof, what do you mean?
So by social proof, I mean things like testimonials. And testimonial posts, I'll be honest, they don't get a ton of engagement. But if someone comes to your page and you're sharing a testimonial, every 8 posts or so, that's about as far as you can expect anyone to look back. But that's going to show, there are people, and I always say pick testimonials that show how you make people feel, the experience. those kinds of things. Before and afters can also, and like, say you got featured in like an article, that can be another form of social proof, but the biggest one is definitely testimonials. So that is a very like underutilized part of, sharing your message on social media. And that's part of, like, I teach a framework called the Align and Attract framework. And that is like a golden nugget from that. So if you kind of take nothing away, definitely incorporate some testimonials. Because then also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm a terrible interrupter. If you have permission to tag that client, then they might repost it, and it's like it gets you in front of other people. And like I always say, like, if I'm like, hey Jody, you should come get your hair done by me, like I'm really good at this, it's effective. But also if someone else is like, Jody, you got to go see Don Bradley, that is so much more weight. And like having other people, like such testimonials and other people talking about how awesome you are is like so much more weight to it.
Oh, 100%. And like share your work, because that's absolutely necessary. But I feel like, honestly, like we have come so far as an industry that like amazing work is kind of like standard now. I mean, when I look at any of like, the stylists that follow me, like their work is incredible, right? So I feel like in our industry, we have set a new bar for quality of work. And, so what are the other reasons that people come to see you, right? It's you, your guest experience, and like, people, the way you make people feel. So share that too. And the beauty is that when you have a plan like this, you don't have to post every day. Like you can post maybe twice a week. I do believe, and I know that like no one has to agree with me, but I do believe that maybe like what I recommend for people is if you're in a season where you're like, I just can't be bothered, like auto schedule like 2 posts a week. You can do it right from Instagram now too. And that way, yeah, you can. So they just introduced scheduling. They're rolling it out. So some accounts have it, some don't. I still use Later because that's my favorite platform. But auto publish, if you do 8 posts a month, that may take you an hour. And like then you know that when people come to your page, it might not be your traffic source, but it's like your authority builder. And so learning to do that differently.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying is like, if you want to just like connect with people and not try to like get people, like I even said, like, just make a banner post out of the top 3 posts and pin them.
Yeah.
And cause like my ADHD brain, like I don't see people's bios, I see images. And so I'm like, do a banner in those top 3 being like, book with me here and like see it and then just be connecting. And I don't know if Driana's still in here. Also, Rachel, yes, you can listen to this on the podcast tomorrow, or you can go watch the replay. It'll be saved in IG and on YouTube. But Driana like went and looked up a local shop, started following the people that followed it, connecting with them. And the girl emailed or DM'd her saying, hey, how did you find me? And then they started talking. She's like, I like to support local. And then the girl's like, I'm actually needing a new hairstylist. Like Driana didn't even like initiate it. And so I love it. Like you can like, and that's where I think Jody and I can like totally agree is like, whatever feels good for you, lean into that, because if it doesn't feel good, the energy is not going to be the same. And if you're putting like an energy of like, oh, I have to do this. Yeah. And that's why like, I like love my morning lives, and I've been like so slack on posting lately, but my morning lives I love. And it's actually, I got 2 new clients just in my DMs yesterday. And so realizing like, I mean, but I get caught up in the whole, like, gotta post 10 million reels a week type shit.
And I think it goes through phases. Like I try to like, and here's my thing, like I try to post because here's how I view it. Like, I don't think of it as like algorithm. I think of it as like community, right? So these people who, follow you and engage with your content, like they've showed up for me. So I want to show up for them in a way that I can. And lately that's been like once a week. Sometimes it's every day, but like, just really realizing that there can be a rhythm. And I think what happens is I don't love the idea of just like ghosting, because then honestly, you do kind of have to start over. If it happens, and that's fine. But why not take the pressure off yourself? Because what happens is people think I have to post every day or there's no point. And that is so far from true. Like even once a week, twice a week, like as a business owner, I think that is fine in those seasons where you just don't have it in you, and being able to focus on pinned posts are great now. You can kind of show that like social proof, your work, and you and the experience in those 3 posts. And then if you do end up kind of like, even if you're just in stories or whatever, your account doesn't look like it's dead, because that can be a factor for some clients for sure. And you're still being current, but you're not expending a ton of energy. And I think that's kind of like finding the balance.
Yeah. And I just had this thought, and then I'm going to get you to address this question. Like, what if you used your Instagram as like for those of you guys that don't have websites, use your Instagram as a website where you could have like a post that like has clear, like how to book. And then, they click on it and they can read the caption of like how to book with you, or like my cancellation policy, or like information posts about what it is. Okay. So I don't have my glasses on. What's a good traffic builder? If you guys have more questions for Jody, like just pop them in the question box and we can bring them up, because I love the comment section moving, but sometimes you miss them. What's a good traffic builder to funnel potential clients to your business? Traffic builder. Lori, can you maybe expand on that? Because are you meaning, like, I'm curious, and maybe you have a better understanding of it. What exactly you mean by traffic builder?
Do you mean like getting people to like book, or like storing lead? Like, yeah, that could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good question.
At the end of the day, I think Jody and I can agree that like building like actual connections with people is huge. And like having people, I mean, I always ask people like, those of you guys that know both Jody and I, like, what is it about each of us? And I'm like actually kind of curious. I mean, this is like totally like seeking validation from you guys right now, but what is it about each of us that attracts you to us? What is it that makes you like coming here live? Those of you guys that know us. And then I love for you guys. I mean, I know I'm totally joking, but also it does like make us feel good to hear good things about us. So, like, put it in the comments, like Dawn this, Jody this, if you feel so inclined. And then I want you to start thinking, like, realizing, like, what is it that your clients are going to come to you for outside of what you offer them? And I teach in Rock Your Business about like having your point of difference. And I used to bring my dog Leroy to work, and I had a candy buffet, and that got Instagrammed way more than anybody's hair. Right?
Hi, Daryl. It's so true though. It really is true that like the points of difference, like some of my students do things like they do like aromatherapy tenting and like, all those kinds of things. And they show that on Instagram because that's part of the experience. So it's, you're showcasing, we spend all this time trying to create this beautiful guest experience, and then people have to wait till they come to your chair to find out about it. Why not share it first and have that be part of your like point of difference?
Honestly. And like the whole thing about, I see so many times people wanting like the Instagram perfect space. And like I'm very proud of my salon now, but I've been in the industry 22 years, and I just got this really beautiful salon a year ago. I did not have a cute space. When I first moved to Calgary, I worked in a basement that I was embarrassed of, but I was like very loud. And I mean, the confidence I had 8 years ago, I wish I could get that back, because I was like very, very confident. But I was like, I charged the same as downtown Calgary. I lived in the burbs. I was working from my basement, but I knew the experience they would have with me and the hair they'd walk away with would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Driana says, Jody has a refreshing and different approach to Instagram. And then she's gone is so real and honest, right? And I love that. It's like, remember that, like, start asking yourself, like, why you're attracted to people that like you want to do business with, and then realizing that people are going to be attracted to you for different reasons. Here is another question coming up. Amy says, examples of posts that showcase what it's like to be a client in the salon without it being a boring video of me cutting hair. Ooh, I think that's just like a suggestion.
Yes.
If your clients are willing to make a quick video just being like, oh my gosh, I feel so amazing. Or maybe like this is like an idea, and it could be a bad idea. Like sneakily record your clients' like excited reaction to their hair, and then show them and ask them if you could have permission to share it. Like, spinning them around in the chair and having them be, but like that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like even those like little details, right? Like if you have like, for instance, I think how many times as stylists do we hear like, oh, the shampoo is my favorite part? Like, you know what I mean? So if you do something special or you do something like extended, or, you know, I've had some of my students who like light a scented candle and do like an extended scalp massage, things like that, showcase that kind of stuff because, or do like a salon tour, or like, this is where you put on like the slippers I have for you, or like, this is where you know, just little like tidbits of that, or like, you know, you could do, if you want to make a reel, you could do like my clients' 3 favorite things about sitting in my chair, you know, things like that to showcase the experience. So you can really get creative and just think about like, what is it like as a client? And like, maybe if it's hard, because it's hard when we're so close to our own stuff, like invite a friend who doesn't come to you, and maybe just like be like, okay, come in, like, and just tell me what like vibe you get. Give me your feedback. Look at your testimonials for stuff like this. You can even poll your existing clients and like ask them, what is your favorite part about coming to see me? And
Yeah.
you'll be shocked at some of the responses. Some of it'll be like, I love the way that you listen to me, or like, I love how, you know, I feel, or I love that I can wear my hair for 3 days after you style it. Like all of these little
Mhm.
things that are valuable to your existing clients, and only do this with clients you like, because you don't want to attract more people that you don't.
Yes.
That can give you kind of a clue as to what people value in what you provide outside of just, you know, the hair, not just the hair, but you know what I mean?
And okay, because I know I'm not the only one that overcomplicates things. And I'm like, okay, like I want to know, how do you uncomplicate? Like if people are going to learn to market well, and like you don't necessarily have to use social media, but you can, and like to cut out the noise of like, you got to post this many times a day, or like have this many hashtags, or go like all the like stuff that doesn't necessarily apply to a local business. But those of us that like either fall into perfectionism of like, oh, like that hair didn't look in the right place, or like, oh, I messed up my words, or I goofed up, or I got to like overly edit this thing and make it all like, how do you think people can uncomplicate it so that they can just get stuff out there?
Okay, so I have an answer. You may not like it. Here's the what I always come back to is like, confidence and ease comes when you've already put in the work, right? So like learning how to do it properly will give you a lot of ease as far as like, and confidence, because if you're someone who, I think it's a lot easier to like spend, you know, a little tiny bit of time learning the skill than trying to convince yourself to like let go of not perfectionism, but like, if you still feel like you're like confused or lost every time, I don't think that confidence comes as easily. Whereas if you were someone who's like, okay, I wanna learn how to do this, and I wanna like look at someone in our industry and look at someone who teaches 2 hairstylists and learn from them, and just learn, like, because it's not hard. And it's like, I always talk about like, before you ever picked up a pair of shears, I don't know if you remember your first haircut. I do. And I was terrified. And it was awful. It did not look good.
Yeah.
But then, you know, the more I learned the foundations, and then the more I did it, the easier it got. But you don't not do those first haircuts because they're not great, you know, like you still have to put in the reps, honestly.
Right.
So learn the foundations, and then just detach yourself from the outcome of what comes after that. Just put things out there, you know, like be real. I know we always say that, but like, there's really no point in misrepresenting yourself, because the end goal is they meet you. So that's kind of how I would uncomplicate it. Just learn the basics, and then just like let go of your attachment to the outcome.
Yes. And it's so easier said than done. But I
Yes.
love, you know what I just thought of when you're saying that? Like, so we go to school for our skill, and then we're still not confident, because it's like one thing to know something and another to actually start. And it's like, and especially in today's day and age, it's like we see so much like amazing good work. We have this expectation to like, well, if I'm not there yet, I don't want to start.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you start walking as a kid, you're not good and you keep trying, but like you still need to go to school, right? And like lots of people are like, I'm just gonna become a hairstylist or whatever because I watch YouTube. But it's like we go to school and we learn the skills. But if you went to, this is like a weird analogy, you know me, my analogies don't always make a lot of sense. But like if you went to like a school that taught like runway and avant-garde hair,
Mhm.
that you would learn that and you wouldn't be able to work in a salon with clients because it would be the wrong skill. So when you're trying to learn how to effectively use social media for your local service-based business, you want to learn like from someone like Jody who gets it and understands it. She's not teaching you Instagram to like appease to like the insecurity of wanting more followers and like stuff that like you'll do all this work and it won't actually build your revenue or your clientele. You want to learn from someone that's going to actually teach you the skills you need for your thing. So, go to the hair school. It's going to teach you how to deal with clients, not avant-garde. If you're going to be wanting to, does that analogy kind of work?
Totally. Yes. No, that absolutely works. Cause you're right. It's like, and that's why it's like, start with your goal, right? Like if your goal is to be, and I have students who are like, I want to be, or like one-on-one coaching clients who are like, I want to be a creator. And I'm like, okay, this is a completely different strategy, which is fine and valid, but it's like some of the things that, if you were teaching a creator and then you told a hairstylist to apply that same stuff, like it won't work. It will not work the same and you won't get the results, which then is going to lead to frustration. And then you're going to feel burnt out. And it's like, so just getting clear on what your goal is first. And, like, I think that focusing on your brand is like the most impactful thing you can do in your business, because then all of the other pieces in your marketing, because then
you don't just mean logo.
No. So like, it's again, like the way I always teach it is like align and attract. So align is the brand, right? That's like, getting clear on even it's the brand within your business. So like I see a comment here, which is like, I do aromatherapy as part of my service. And I love this because aromatherapy is so powerful, but that's like a part of your brand. And people think that it's like, oh, it's about, just your colors or your font or whatever, but it's about the experience you provide, who you are, who your services are for, and like ultimately how you make people feel, and then just communicating that. And and the like a lot of my students say like once they get the branding part down, everything else starts to click. And it's like, okay, now I'm confident in who I am and the value I provide. It's so much easier to talk about it in whatever channel I choose as my marketing channel.
Yes. And I love, because you were talking about like confidence, and I like legit, I think it was just yesterday I was saying like so many times, because like I was never a confident person and I still struggle with confidence. And confidence isn't something that like all of a sudden like is like bestowed upon you. I was saying to people, confidence is a byproduct of being courageous and vulnerable. And
oh my God, that's so good.
That's like what my
and that's like taking it right now.
There's a lot of false confidence out there, and false confidence is built on ego, which is just deep underlying insecurity. And so if something doesn't, like if you're not feeling vulnerable, a little bit vulnerable, and that you're taking a courageous step, you're most likely using false confidence, which I did that in the beginning when I was like trying to put like who I was out online, and like, I'm amazing. And I was like terrified to admit that I'd never make a mistake. And then shit got real, and like I felt exposed and I felt like a fraud. But the moment that I started just being vulnerable and like talking about how I fried someone's hair off once, or, like getting real about things, then the confidence came to show up as who I am.
And that allows you to like really connect with people too, because like one of the things that connected me with you and then also our mutual friend Piper was, I remember you shared like a podcast episode about like depression and mental health. And I was like, just like putting that out there was like, I think it made people feel seen. So like if you're listening, and I saw a couple educators who are, who I've worked with pop in, but like, that's one of the best things you can do is just be real, because that's going to give you, that connection and allow people to feel seen. And that vulnerability is important.
Okay, we've got 2 more questions that I want us to answer, and then I think we should bring Jody back again for another live sometime. Lori asks, is doing IG lives helpful to create that local awareness? If so, what tips and topics can help attract clients?
Partner with other local businesses that have a similar audience to you. I think the power of live video is like, you can absolutely go live solo and connect with your people and all those things. But I do think as far as like a local business, partnering up with another another local business can really help spread awareness for both of you. It's mutually beneficial, and it can also help you make friends. And that makes entrepreneurship so much less lonely. It makes it so much more fun. And networking is actually like online. And I'm someone who's like, the idea of going and handing out my card at a networking event makes me want to like crawl up in a hole and die. So
networking events. I'm like, I like to connect with people organically, like
yeah,
walking in the
totally.
store, but like networking events, get me the hell out of there.
Totally. So if you have like a local business where like I remember like local clothing boutiques, photographers and people who are investing in like branding photos, that is like a really, really great person to partner with as well. Makeup artists, obviously, spas, like yoga studios, depending on who your ideal client is. That would be, I think, that would give you the most like bang for your buck, if you will, as far as live video. Unboxings are cool too. Like if you have a product line and you want to go live and like talk about these new things that you got in, I think that can be a fun one as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. One last question for Jody. It says, Amy says, advice for someone who's fully booked but trying to stay relevant for business presence.
Okay. I feel like if you're kind of in like a maintenance phase, then I would almost like shift to like what's valuable for like your existing audience. If you want to kind of like stay relevant, I'd focus on like value posts and less of them. That would be my advice for that. So you don't have to be as like concerned about constantly showing up, but you can also share like, share your work and like any new things that are going on with your salon or your business, and then like maybe some educational posts that'll be really relevant. So it's almost like your page becomes a resource, which I think is a really great way to establish authority too.
And I would say too, if I can like piggyback on that, like I teach the success wheel, which is how like clients are going to come and go. And even if you're fully booked, you always want to maintain some level of attracting new people, because I see so many people, they think our careers are linear, where it's like people are so embarrassed to be like, I don't want to tell people I'm not fully booked because they'll think I'm shit. It's like, being fully booked and being talented are two different things. And so you don't need to be scared to tell people, but it's like the reality is like, it's like when you work out, if you work out when you get fit, it's a lot easier to maintain your fitness than like getting fit and then losing shape and then like pushing that again. So all of a sudden, like, something happens where you lose some clients or you move or whatever, it's always good to maintain that. Like, I mean, like even if you can't take on new clients, having a wait list and like nurturing those people and like getting them like, well, you might not be able to book in with me, but why don't you pop in and buy some product and I can consult you. And then it grows this demand. And here's the thing, you guys, is like, when I started charging for consultations, I was getting so booked up. What a wonderful problem. But I wasn't attracting like all the right people. And like that new client anxiety is like the worst feeling when you're like, I'd almost rather be not booked than have a client, because like, what if I don't connect with this person? And so I put a $50 charge on consultations to try to weed people out from booking with me. But I got more booked because people love exclusive shit. And that's the reality.
And I would say like the best way to avoid new client anxiety, I love that, by the way, is being really solid in your branding. Because that's gonna weed out the people who are, and like what's your my favorite analogy that you use is it like bourbon or whiskey or something like that?
Yeah, bourbon doesn't give a shit.
Yes. So like if you are someone who, is getting a lot of people who aren't necessarily dream clients, like if you try to water down your messaging to appeal to everyone, then it's going to be very difficult for you to have those dream clients who are like fully aligned with you. So the more you can like lean into your brand and be like, I hate, it's a buzzword, but it's good that it's a buzzword, like authentic, that's going to give you a lot more of those like perfect people for you.
And being authentic now, I feel like really requires that courageousness, because in a world where like we're so exposed online, being your real self is scary, because we can possibly have people say negative things.
Yeah. And I think there's like, I also like think that there's, I want to like be really clear that being authentic as a local business owner, like I think is very dependent on your comfort level. So like I don't necessarily share every detail of my personal life because it's not something that I want to, I just don't want to. So like,
Yeah, authentic with what you do. Right?
Exactly. And like, I have a lot of people who are like, oh, what's the line? And I always think like first or second appointment that's like a good, like, because we could like kind of, get a little more comfortable after that. But I think like for new clients, for me, and this is again, if your goal is attraction of new clients and building your business through Instagram, like that's kind of where I always put it. So
yeah. Andre, thank you so much for coming live this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Because this is going to be saved on Instagram and YouTube, but also on the podcast, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram at It's Jody Brown. And then also come check out my podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast and you like podcasts, come check out Hairstylist Rising.
Jody also just hit a really freaking big milestone in your podcast. Do you want to share that?
Yeah. So the podcast just hit 100,000 downloads, which is so exciting. And 80% of them were this year, which is also very exciting. So, we have really like grown the listenership, and it is one of my favorite things that I get to do. So if you love podcasts, come check it out. Dawn has made an appearance, I think twice, and there will be a third time, which has been amazing. So yeah, definitely check there, and then come say hi on Instagram. I'd love to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming live. You guys think we should bring Jody back? Put a yes in the comments. Maybe we should do like a regular thing.
I think so too. I think that'd be fun. We do like the marketing chats.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it.
All right, you guys, this is a great business breakfast in Bedhead. I just want to remind you, weekday mornings at 8 a.m.-ish. It's kind of been 8:30 this week. And if you enjoyed this, the biggest way that you can support Jody and I and give thanks to us is just sharing this with people that you think will get value in it. So we'll see you on Monday, same time, same place. Look at all the yeses. I love it.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun.
Be courageous today, you guys. Be vulnerable, and the confidence will come. Don't overwhelm yourself. And have an awesome weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And then we always end YouTube at the end. Bye.